She fought 2 wars at once, one against the enemy at the gates, and a second, lonelier war against the very men she led. Come, let the day's sharp edges soften. Tonight, we journey to a forgotten corner of the age of chivalry to meet a figure born more of necessity than of legend. We seek the female knight. We imagine her as a triumphant shieldmaiden, a symbol of power, respected and equal, her skill with a sword earning her a place among heroes. But the truth, as it so often is, was a much harder, lonelier path. Tonight, we will look beyond the fantasy and understand the profound sacrifice required of a woman who lifted a sword in a world forged by men. This is why you would likely not survive a single day in her ill-fitting armor. Our story takes place within the cold, damp walls of a small castle under siege. Its lord died a month prior, leaving his lands and his people to his only child, a daughter. Let us call her Lady Isolde. She was raised to manage a household, to marry a powerful man, to be a pawn in the great game of alliances. But when rival banners appeared on the horizon, she made a choice. Instead of surrendering her home, she did the unthinkable. She put on her father's armor. The sun has not yet risen, but Isolde is already awake, the weight of command a cold stone in her stomach. Her lady's maid, her hands trembling slightly, helps her dress not in silk, but in steel. This is the first, most painful reason you would not survive in the armor of a female knight. It was not made for her. It was beaten and reshaped by the castle blacksmith, but it is still fundamentally wrong. The breastplate is too broad, leaving dangerous gaps at her sides. The chainmail hauberk is heavy and hangs awkwardly on her frame. The gauntlets are too large for her hands. It is not just uncomfortable, it is a constant, nagging reminder that she is an imposter in this world of men. As the heavy helm is lowered over her head, the world shrinks to a narrow slit, and she is sealed inside a cage of steel that is both her shield and her prison. She walks the battlements as the sun rises, her armored steps heavy on the stone. The guards, loyal men who served her father, bow their heads, but she can see the doubt in their eyes. She can hear the whispers when she passes, words like unnatural, witch, or a woman's folly. The enemy knights on the field below do not shout challenges to a worthy foe. They hurl insults, mocking the she-wolf who dares to command a castle. This is the second and most profound reason it sucked to be a female knight: the crushing, absolute solitude. A male knight has his brothers in arms, a shared camaraderie of the battlefield. Isolde has no one. She cannot show fear, for it would be seen as female weakness. She cannot show compassion, for it would be seen as sentimentality. She must be harder, colder, and more resolute than any man just to earn a fraction of the same respect. She is a commander without confidants, a leader without peers. Later, she stands over the rationing table. The siege has dragged on for weeks. The grain is running low. A captain of the guard approaches her. "My lady," he says, his eyes avoiding hers. "The men are losing heart. They say a woman's luck is bad for a siege." He does not say that he believes this, but the poison is in the air. This is the next reason you would not survive: the weight of every decision. A male lord's failed plan is a strategic error. Isolde's failed plan is proof that a woman cannot lead. Every choice she makes, to ration the bread, to conserve the arrows, to send men on a dangerous sortie, is judged not on its merit, but on her gender. She is not just fighting for her castle. She is fighting against the deeply ingrained beliefs of her entire world. The burden is immense. One afternoon, a small section of the outer wall is breached. The alarm bells toll. Isolde, her heart pounding in her ill-fitting armor, rushes to the breach. She does not have the sheer physical strength of the larger knights, so she cannot rely on brute force. She must rely on her mind, her speed, and a desperate courage. She finds not a glorious duel, but a terrifying, chaotic brawl. It is a storm of mud, steel, and screams. She sees one of her men fall, and she steps into his place, her sword a flash of light. She is quick, yes, but the weight of her armor tires her faster than the men around her. A glancing blow from an axe that a larger man might shrug off sends a jarring shock through her entire body. She survives the skirmish, her men rallying behind her unexpected ferocity, but the cost is another set of deep purple bruises and a soul-deep exhaustion. She has proven herself for one more day, but she knows she will have to do it all over again tomorrow. As night falls, she returns to her chamber. She unbuckles the heavy armor piece by piece, her hands aching. The relief as the weight lifts is so profound it almost brings her to tears. Beneath the steel, she is not a warrior lord. She is a young woman with bruised skin, tangled hair, and eyes that hold the weariness of 100 old men. She looks at her hands, calloused from the sword, and barely recognizes them. They were supposed to be hands that embroidered, that played the lute. Now they are hands that have taken a life to defend her own. She has sacrificed the woman she was meant to be for the leader her people needed her to become. And in the quiet of her room, she is not Lady Isolde, the fearsome defender of the keep. She is just Isolde, and she is utterly alone. The life of a female knight, in those rare moments she existed, was not a tale of empowerment and glory. It was a story of profound sacrifice, a war fought on two fronts, one against the enemy at the gates, and a second, lonelier war against the world she was trying to protect. So as you drift off to sleep, think of the quiet strength of Lady Isolde. Think of the woman who wore armor that did not fit, who carried a burden that was not hers to bear, and who held the line, not for glory or for song, but simply because there was no one else to do it.